When I spit bars in a rave, man, I go hard like Santan.
Hello, welcome to another Touchy Gooners podcast. My name is Lewis, and I'm joined by the usual suspects today of Seun, Dan, and Leroy. How you guys doing?
Yo,
all good, man.
fucking happy, boy.
Are you over the moon because Willian is joining, or because?
Just Arteta's in the house, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Fully, like, he's done his thing, man. He's done his thing.
Yeah. I'm particularly enjoying your Zoom background. It's very interesting, actually. It's quite cool. I'm hoping this kind of thing catches on.
Yeah. But it just looks like I'm a ghost or something, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you know, keeping the identity secret is important, but you know, you got to keep them on edge. You know, you got to keep them on edge.
No case.
Yeah. Before we start, anyway, obviously usual plugs. Make sure to use the hashtag Touchline Fracas. It is Touchline Fracas, the hashtag. Use that. So if you want to comment on a pod or anything like that, any funny parts, use the hashtag. Okay, use the hashtag. Don't bother doing hashtag Touchy Gooners. We won't see it. Okay, so use Touchline Fracas. Obviously, as per usual, if you don't want to listen to us as an audio format and you want to see Leroy's funny Zoom background, then you can obviously watch this on YouTube. The YouTube is Touchline Fracas, so you can go there. Big shout out to all our patrons again. Tomorrow, I believe we're recording so we will talk transfers today, but we'll do it in a limited scale. And what we're going to do is we're going to do like a player profile of our targets. So every week we're going to do a player profile breaking down a specific player that we're heavily linked with. We haven't quite decided who we're going to do yet. We're kind of, contemplating Willian or Coutinho, which one's more interesting, So we're gonna do that, or maybe Gabriel. Who knows? But yeah, so that will be available to all Patreons. So you can get if you haven't subscribed, what better reason to subscribe to our Patreon there? You can do that for as little as £5 a month. So guys, we haven't actually spoke since the FA Cup final. It's an unexpected result for all of us, I felt. I don't think any of us came into the game expecting us to win. We were all kind of fearing for the worst, maybe like a gallant kind of loss, but probably our most important FA Cup win, maybe since our first one ending the trophy drought under Wenger. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure, man. In terms of the ramifications of what it meant, like we already know financially how tight it is at the moment. So that was needed, 100%. After finishing 8th, we needed that little extra revenue stream that winning the FA Cup would bring. So, boy, amazing. So big up Arteta, man.
Yeah, man. We needed it. Now we can get Willian on 4-year deal.
Oh,
150k a week.
Oh my gosh.
Add an option onto that.
Jesus Christ.
We really needed that Europa League money. Oh, and on top of that, why don't we just sack a few of the staff members as well? Sack Eileen in the canteen. Yeah. Sack Francis, who's our only good talent recognizer. Yeah, let's just get rid of everyone and sign Willian on a 4-year deal. How about that?
I'm fucking fuming. When I saw that today, I saw it after work only like an hour ago. When like your heart sinks, like something that you've seen, I just think, what are you doing? And it just makes me think that Raul is just going to it's him and his agents taking over the world, taking over the club, and they're just going to rinse us of our money and like West Ham.
We've got a lot of questions about that, so we'll do that. I didn't mean to divert, but it was kind of like, it was a bit difficult not to, innit? But let's talk more in depth about the final. It was a difficult start for us. I felt like Chelsea really kind of stuck it on us first 10 minutes or so, and when we went 1-0 down with some typical Arsenal weak defending, I think it was just Pulisic just ran through our midfield like no one was even there. I think it was Pulisic, or it might have been Mount. I can't remember who, but it kind of set me up thinking, oh my God, not again. Like, is this going to be like another hiding like in Baku? Or are we going to really get stuffed here? What was you guys' thoughts of those first 10 minutes, and what was you thinking when we went 1-0 down? I'll start with you, Dan.
I was out watching the game, so I couldn't join the Discord. And yeah, first 10 minutes, man, conceded the goal. Hearing bad Chelsea fans celebrate, I was fuming.
I've seen you bad some people up. So
I know that Dan was drinking that peak gin, boy.
Bro, blinking at me, floating, bro. I was.
I swear that video. I still don't know what you were saying, Dan. It needs subtitles, bruv. It needs subtitles. I don't know what you were talking about. It just sounded like you were hotting someone up.
I was, man.
I thought I was watching an episode of Married to Medicine or Desperate Housewives. What's it called? Housewives of Atlanta or something like that.
If you lot didn't see it, by the way, you listeners, we're gonna put it on the Touchy Gooners.
Oh, you allowed me, man.
Everyone can see.
I don't know what he was saying, but it was crud talk.
He was on crud still.
Dan, can I ask? Was that what scoreline was that? I'm assuming that was when we won the game, or was it when we equalised?
It was after the game.
Oh, it was after the game, right? Yeah. So you were a bit pissed.
I give you the scenario. What happened is, I went to the pub with a couple of my friends. Some Chelsea fans, some Arsenal fans, and one Spurs fan. Some West Ham fans there as well. And the Spurs fan before the game was asking about, "Have you got a spare Chelsea shirt for me?" Where? So I'm just waiting for the game, innit? Obviously, I'm hoping we'll win, innit? Because my agenda was already set up from a time, so. I already said that Arteta will win the trophy before Mourinho. Arteta would win the trophy quicker than Pochettino would. So it was basically just unloading that after the game on him. So that's
what fair enough. I don't know what Spurs fans like. Even the Touchline pod, the Spurs Touchline pod, TLF Hotspur, Touchline Hotspur. Sorry. They were talking. Like, I just don't understand what gives you the authority to even chat to us. Like, you ain't won there's a literal Twitter account dedicated to you guys on how long you haven't won a trophy since. Okay, and you finished above us for a few years. Well done. We used to finish above you every year for about 25 years. Who gives a shit, man? Like, seriously. But anyway, yeah. No, enough about Spurs fan. We're giving them way too much time of day. But
yeah, first 10 minutes, my head was hot.
Yeah.
As you said, I was getting flashbacks, bro, from the Baku final, man. I was getting flashbacks. I was thinking Giroud next, and it's going to be a bullet header, and they're going to sink us today. And then I just think Chelsea kind of stepped off a little bit. They had a few more good openings, but stepped off a little bit. And I don't know if Arteta made a switch at that moment, because I think the real switch came at the drinks break. So it's just they stepped off a little bit. They had a few more here and there chances. And then after the drinks break, man, I think a couple of things that he's supposed to said was that Ainsley Maitland-Niles comes more in midfield to help us out, and that we continue to attack the channel of Azpilicueta, which we did. There's like this video of him talking to Tierney, basically just lump it down that wing, man. Aubameyang is there somewhere, find him, and that's what led to the penalty, So
yeah. There's something.
100% a penalty, by the way. So.
Yeah, we've had it all from Meads this week about, it's not a penalty. Kovacic shouldn't have been sent off. Martinez was handballing it outside the box. Like, all this from a team that apparently did not care about whether they won the FA Cup. Well, they didn't care about the game. They didn't care if they won or not. Oh, we're in the Champions League. What do we care? But it's conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory after the game. Apparently the referees don't like Chelsea and all of this crap. But where was that when Chelsea got a fortuitous win over us just a few months ago at the Emirates? Wasn't it? What happened in that game? I can't remember.
When Jorginho was twisting up Guendouzi's arm.
Yeah, that was it. Jorginho, he should have been sent off. Yeah, where was the referee bias then? But yeah, there seems to be something in these drinks breaks, I feel like, where we're able to really take advantage of it. I think, who is it that spoke about it? I think it might have been Chris Wilder spoke about it and said that we're not actually supposed to be given tactical instructions during these drink breaks, but Arteta seems to be sneaking a few instructions in during these drinks breaks, and we seem to be taking advantage of them.
Yeah, do you know what? I think tactically, that was a really interesting game. I thought, even though the teams aren't great, so like Chelsea proper dominated that first 22 minutes of the drinks break. And we couldn't really live with them in the middle of the park. So the way they set up was they set up their 3-4-3, but they had their 3 at the top was very narrow. So they had like a 2 behind Giroud, but they were very close. Mount was making third man runs, and then Pulisic was receiving to feet in the pocket. So I felt that our midfield was really, really overwhelmed because we were playing like a dual system. So when we had the ball, we were playing a 4-3-3 with Ainsley Maitland-Niles quite wide on the left in midfield. And then when we lost the ball, he reverted back to left wing back, and then Tierney came inside. And one thing I was impressed with is with how much space Ainsley Maitland-Niles covered, because he had his 2 positions in and out of possession. Obviously, it's only when we had measured possession, we're really far apart, and he covered that ground very, very quickly. But we were getting really dominated in the middle because they had obviously Pulisic in the middle, Mount in the middle, and they had their 2 centre mids, and we couldn't really cope.
Yeah.
And then the big changes Arteta made as soon as that first drinks break, obviously, was to bypass the midfield and hit over straight away. But he did 2 things, because Mount was making a lot of third man runs. So he said to Tierney, as soon as they get the ball, you're going to man mark Mount. And he literally man marked him out the game from that point, or at least for the first half. And then Ainsley Maitland-Niles covering the left half space after that, when we weren't in possession. And yeah, so it was the long ball, man marking Mount, and then Ainsley Maitland-Niles also was essentially, he was making runs trying to pin back Reece James. So you can see him making a lot of runs from deeper positions and trying to make Reece James think about something just to leave him out of the picture. So I think he made those 3 changes at the drinks break. And this is the evolution of Arteta we're seeing as a coach before our very eyes, because before we were saying in-game management's not very good. And recently, and in the last few games, especially the big games, he's been identifying the problem, fixing it in game. And I think that's really, really impressive. And he's clearly improving at that as he's going on in the job. So I think 10 out of 10 for Arteta for the changes he made to actually change the game.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, it was one of those changes that you mentioned that obviously led to the equaliser, which was that kind of like, Dan, as you alluded to, the punt. I don't want to use the word punt with Kieran, right? Because I feel like there's a bit more to it. Yeah, he's put a lot of loft, a lot of spin, a lot of skill and technique on that punt forward. Yeah, so I would like to call it like a lofted pass. It was a very eloquent pass over the top, right on the money. You know, Aubameyang takes it in his stride, and Aspi, from then on, he's up against it. And he was having him and Reece James were having a torrid time against...
Aspi bottled this, man. After that penalty, he bottled out that game. I don't care. He was not injured, man. I don't believe that.
Yeah, he went off with a hamstring injury, was it?
Looked dubious to me, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's exactly how you pull up when that hammy goes, 100%.
But there was a few occasions where Oba and Ainsley got in behind, you know, for someone like Reece James, who I actually thought was, well, I think he still is quite quick, but Ainsley was just giving him a tough day, man. Like
over long distances, I don't think he was able to cope back and forth with Maitland now. I think this is where you see the evolution in PMP. I think Reece James is obviously quite good technically and over short bursts, but Maitland now's got his over short, long, and for about 90 minutes. So that's a whole another level of
very impressive athleticism he showed. Very, very impressive.
Yeah, I think he was very good even with the ball. Off the ball, of course, he did a lot. But he was also quite good with the ball, man.
Yeah. So Oba got the penalty, and I have to admit I was petrified. I thought he was going to miss. I actually put money on him to miss, as you do, because I'm a degenerate gambler. But I couldn't have been more happy to lose a bet, because he put the penalty away like, you know, he didn't have a care in the world. Just slammed it right into the corner.
Sight netting, man.
Yeah. And, you know, Caballero, he's an expert penalty taker. He didn't stand a chance. So, but then once we scored that goal, we seemed to really take over the game. I think it was a little bit before then, because, you know, we were building up a bit of pressure and a bit of momentum. And then the rest of the half was ours. I was thinking, Leroy, you were on the Discord with me. I think I was saying to you, like, man, like the halftime whistle is really coming at a bad time for us, because we were well on top. We were like, you know, getting in really dangerous positions, and Chelsea couldn't really get out. And then obviously the halftime whistle came. What do you think it was just? What did we do to really like change the momentum in midfield, and what did we do to get a controlling element over the game, over Kovacic and Jorginho?
In midfield?
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not really sure we changed very much with midfield. I feel like we nullified their threat very well, and then we were picking up the second balls when we were trying to hit Aubameyang. And the thing is, when you're in football,
Aubameyang's very good at that, by the way.
A lot of it is about momentum. So those changes that Arteta made kind of changed momentum. And then because we were on top, then you start getting the confidence and we start stroking it around the back four. Chelsea are getting a bit less confident. And I think that's what kind of changed everything. I don't think in midfield specifically, there were many tactical changes that I could identify. I don't know about you, man, but I couldn't see any specific midfield changes. He did get Maitland-Niles to do a bit more running on that side off the ball, but that's all I saw.
Do you know? I think football is a game of spells a lot of times, and the very best teams, like in the Premier League, is quite obvious. The very best teams, Liverpool, by a far stretch this season, but City as well. They're able to control these spells, and then able to assert dominance and then attack when they need to. So even when they drop off in intensity a little bit, they still game manage very well. So I think while Chelsea have a better squad than us, I don't think they're quite yet there with the game management as well. So they came out very good in the first 20 minutes, with intensity, especially Pulisic was extremely bright. He took some unbelievable touches. But once the momentum, as Ant said, shifted, I think they struggled game managing. And they struggled getting back as dominance over the game. And this is something that happens in football a lot of times. And we just had the momentum and also the intensity that came with us. So players that for the first 20 minutes were not good, all of a sudden we're awake. Like Pepe was all of a sudden awake. He was doing stuff. Lacazette was all of a sudden moving a bit more. So those kind of things make a difference. And then someone like Kovacic was already on the yellow, I believe. So those things impact how you're able to press someone, how you're able to chase someone down. So I think those things kind of turned into our favour with the goal and the way we finished the half, especially. And then going into the second half, we just carried on, basically.
I guess it helps that we had the best midfielder in the league on the pitch as well, like my boy Danny.
Shameless.
Does help, doesn't it?
I think another point as well was that after the drinks break, when we started stretching them and we started going long, because Chelsea aren't very quick at the back. I mean, Zuma's okay across the ground, but him and Rudiger are very, very clumsy. So because we started to stretch them, you saw, and Wembley's a massive, massive pitch.
Yeah.
So you easily see. So once we start stretching them, that sort of discouraged them from pressing too high up consistently. So that in itself lended more time to Xhaka and Ceballos to start picking passes and playing through the lines and stuff as well. And that's how because we were able to diversify our threat. And that's where I think Arteta sort of outwitted Frank a bit more. We would either, because the fact of the matter is we can play and Xhaka and Ceballos, given time, they can pop through the lines, but also knowing the fact that, do you know what, we're not scared to go long and we're not scared to turn them the other way as well. So I think that helped to stretch them, and it gave them another thing to think about, which they probably didn't really consider, because obviously by default Arsenal are not really going to go long. But if you see the game state and where the spaces are on the pitch, we look to exploit that, and that was really good on Arteta's part.
Yeah.
Definitely. Do you know what I think as well? As he mentioned with Rudiger and Zuma, I think when the ball started coming long and they're being under more pressure, they panicked so much. So a lot of their passes that they in the first 20 minutes did with ease, and we didn't press that well, they couldn't do anymore. They were not getting the right accuracy behind the passes. They were being very wayward. So
and to be honest, and whilst they can run, they're both very, very clumsy defenders, both of them. Do you know what I mean? So once you put those sort of guys under pressure, they literally start panicking themselves as well. So, and that sort of thing then starts to permeate throughout the team. Even though technically Chelsea are a much higher level than us, it didn't. We sort of equalised it. Definitely from sort of that 20-minute mark onwards. And yeah, like you said, it was a shame because the half ended when it was, because I think if it had gone on maybe another 10 minutes, maybe we might have got another goal. But
yeah, I agree. But then we didn't need the other goal in the end in that half, because I felt the second half was kind of stale. I think, Leroy, you probably got a different opinion to me, but I felt like it was a half where neither team really did much. I felt we were pretty comfortable on the whole. Obviously, the goal came out a really good time for us. I think we scored with in the 65th minute or something around that time, and then obviously Kovacic got sent off about 5 minutes later. So that was a really good 5-minute period for us that allowed us to get control over that game.
The Pulisic thing helped as well. Like,
Of course, Pulisic went off
you don't wish
injured.
anyone to get injured, but that probably sort of added to the fact that obviously after Aspi went off in the first half, that's another hamstring that went. So they probably got a bit discouraged as well. And,
I was very happy to see the back of Pulisic because he was causing us a few issues.
And to be fair, I thought Lampard was going to bring on Cho, and then he brought on Pedro first. But I mean,
Chelsea
Pedro
fans were fuming.
They were, but to be fair, I mean, anyone is still going to burn Rob Holding. That youth is so slow. So I mean, but to be fair, it didn't really change much of the overall flow. And to be honest, once we went ahead, I say it now, I wasn't confident at the time, but we didn't really look like we were going to concede again once we went ahead, to be fair.
No, I agree. I don't think Chelsea really, I know they had 10 men. I know they had a lot of the ball, which I don't know if that was a ploy from us or, we definitely seemed to be a lot more conservative, but despite them having, the lion's share of possession in the second half, I never felt like they were going to do anything. I don't even remember them really having a chance. I don't think they had a half chance.
It said
it was just Pedro from range, really.
Yeah, and they didn't have. They said they didn't have a shot on target after the 10th minute in the game, so that pretty much tells you all you need to know after that. So
yeah, Leroy, you were saying in the group chat that you felt Chelsea were on top in that second half, and you felt like I'll let you explain what you.
So what I was saying is, despite obviously they're not creating much in terms of a massive threat, I thought they dominated. So after our spell of domination after the drinks break for the rest of the first half, I thought Chelsea, when they came out in the second half, they were pretty dominant over the football, and they had the game. They had the control of the game. They were writing the script of the game, and I felt that obviously our what's this called? Until the red card, sorry. That came obviously against, that changed everything, and that was against the run of play. I just felt that they were a little bit dominant. But, like you said, they didn't create any clear-cut chances. They didn't create any situations that really troubled us. But I just felt that we were soaking up a little bit of, we were seeding a bit of dominance there, because we were very, very dominant at the second half of the first half, if that makes sense.
Maybe a bit of nervousness?
I don't know. Like Dan said, it's just, football is a game of phases, so it was just their time to be a bit dominant, but they didn't do much with it. So
let's talk about the goal then, because it was a bit of a scrappy goal, but with a really, really quality finish at the end. So obviously the ball started, I think my boy Ceballos, again, he was involved in it. I think he won back the ball, gave it to Bellerin.
Find some shame.
Listen, he was quality on the day. You can't even deny it, can you? Can't even deny it. He was the best midfielder on the day, maybe the best player on the pitch outside of Aubameyang. So
I was still there.
So and then Bellerin obviously went on a weird little dribble where he over hit it, and then we had a lucky break. And then I felt like Pepe gave Oba too much to do with his pass. I felt like Oba, he played it behind Oba, and that was the reason Oba had to check back and then take on Zuma. I don't know if you guys have a different perspective. So I felt like he could have played it more in Oba's path to allow him to get a shot off.
I think in that situation, it's better to, unless there's for a goal scoring opportunity that leads directly to a shot, I think Pepe did the right pass there to slow down play for Aubameyang to go either on his left or right foot. So he knew he'd pass it over, and then Aubameyang can then decide if he's going to go on his right or left. Rather than passing it too hard and Aubameyang has to go on his left. He didn't make his mind up. He gave Aubameyang basically I'm giving you I don't know if that was his intention, of course, but I guess so. He just went, "Gonna give it to you, feet."
Definitely didn't intend it. Definitely didn't intend it.
No, do you know what? Let me give
that do this on purpose, but
let me give him the benefit, because what I think has happened is the way the ball came to him wasn't the easiest thing in the first place, because it came from that collision, right?
Yeah.
He actually, to get it under control with the first touch was actually decent. Now, I think he's just basically been as cautious as possible not to fuck up.
Yeah.
Because he had to play that across, was it 2 or 3 defenders? And they weren't that far away from the ball. So I think he's played it backwards to be as safe as possible, to play it safe side to Oba, so it doesn't get intercepted across the box. So I think he has actually done that intentionally, but he's just basically bottled it a little bit. But
yeah, I can agree with that, to be fair.
I mean, to be fair, I think that was sort of the right option, though, because if you remember a few minutes before, Oba had the opportunity where the ball came across him and he tried to take it on his right, and Zuma blocked it as well. So I think it was better to give him the opportunity, as Dan said, just to decide what he wanted to do with it.
Fair enough. I just felt like you see in that position, I've seen Oba in that position so many times, and he just gets tackled because Oba is not very good 1v1. Like, how many goals have you actually seen where Oba stands a man up and beats him? You know, and especially on his left side, I've not seen it that many times. Oba's not that kind of striker. So when I saw Pepe play it to his feet, and I saw that Zuma was in front of Aubameyang, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake! Like, we've slowed it down, and I wasn't expecting Oba to do what he did, but he did. He absolutely took Zuma to the cleaners, and I loved hearing Jorginho's alternative commentary on it. Oh, Zoo.
That was a drug to me. I watched that at least 100 times. That was a drug to me. Even the first day, right foot. Ah, Zoo. Inject it into my.
It sounded like he's seen this exact same situation in training like hundreds of times. He's like, oh, Zoo, not again, man, Zoo.
And you know what's the other thing? When Zuma's face, when Aubameyang went past him, like, he looked,
man, it's priceless.
Like, it was an amazing goal from Oba. The finish as well was just fucking ridiculous.
Top notch.
You know, he made it look really easy, but how many of those chances have we seen missed? You know, where he's gone for the most difficult finish, I think, and it just came off, you know, spectacularly. And
on that goal as well, I think at Arsenal we have not seen it much, but you know, I watch Dortmund games. Aubameyang is unbelievable at chipping the ball with both feet. So I've seen him on a lot of occasions just chip the ball when it's not the easy finish, but he makes it look easy. So he can go on his left foot. He usually doesn't lever it on his left foot. He prefers to chip it on his left foot, and he prefers to finesse it on his right foot. So if he shoots with his right foot, it's usually finesse. If he shoots with his left, it's usually chip.
I was going to say, because wasn't his very first goal for Arsenal a left foot chip?
A chip against Everton.
Chip against Everton. I'm pretty sure I remember it. Like, he was put through on goal.
That much at Arsenal, boy. He's got loads of Dortmund like that.
He's just elite players doing elite things, man. That he is something else.
Yeah, he is
something else. And
he is.
Go on. Like, if he does stay, I just hope he can. Because the thing is, you probably remember, because we knew each other then, Lewis. I was screaming that we should get Aubameyang from St. Etienne. I was on it. I was thinking, this guy, even though he was very raw them times.
Do you think he's a more refined player now?
Yeah, and even back when he was at Dortmund in the first few seasons, I don't think Klopp really fancied him because he was so raw. And he's really developed. And I just hope, that is my hope for Martinelli, what Aubameyang is now. And I just hope he can help nurture him, he can study from him, and he can watch him practice, refine himself technically, especially in his finishing, and become that type of player, but hopefully at a younger age. He's unbelievable.
I personally about Aubameyang so much is that, even as he said, at St. Etienne, he was already pulling off unbelievable finishes, but he was missing quite a bit as well. At Dortmund, he did the same. A lot of unbelievable finishes, very good goals, but also a lot of misses. But he always got into the right place and got the chances. Now Arsenal, he doesn't even get enough chances, but his game is definitely more refined because he just takes his chances when they come. So it's just honestly, he plays at such a high level to play in a team that we've looked at the creative numbers. Willian will be our most creative player if he comes, right? So like we're so far off creatively, and to think that this player has scored 22 goals in the Premier League again,
29 all comps.
It's just ridiculous, man. Honestly, he's playing at such a high level that the club needs to do everything they can do to turn down to a contract realistically. Obviously, I understand the business part of it, that you don't want to pay too much again for someone over 30 and don't have the Ozil situation again. But like honestly, he's playing at such a high level. We can't let him go, and he's goals, man.
I've got a question actually. So we'll get into listeners' question because I want to cover transfers as well. And I was just looking through the listeners' questions as you were doing it, and there's a lot about transfers, so we could just do it as one. But just regarding Aubameyang, G Theorem asked, have the cast members who were pushing for the club to sell Aubameyang in the summer and reinvest earlier in the season revise their position? Now, I believe we have a few people on the call today that were aware of that position, Seun being one of them. Have you revised your position on that, Seun?
Yeah, I'll take everything I said back.
You don't want the 20 mil anymore, no? You don't want the 20 mil now.
No. Listen, well, for whatever money we will get, it's not even worth it, bro. Just bank it, bro. Just give him the P, sell others to raise funds, and boom.
Why have you changed your opinion though? Why specifically?
No. So obviously it's not a case of I've always rated him. It's not a case of me never not rating him. It's just that I thought the position we were in. I mean, we still are in that position of just the rebuild. That I just thought, you know what, just F it. We're just going to need to scrap it all and start again. Maybe because I think Arteta's a bit of a miracle worker. He can cut corners. And by the way, it looks like they're approaching their sort of transfer strategy this season. It's kind of similar to, how when we gave Ozil that new deal, we bought Aubameyang, we bought Mickey, because they're just trying to do it, trying to do a short-term thing and just trying to get back into the Champions League by hook or by crook. And I think they're going to try the same thing again next season, because that's how you can see our transfer policies influenced by the link to sort of Willian, Coutinho, Partey. These are all very experienced guys, do you know what I mean? So we're trying to either, because they're obviously back in Europa now, so we're either trying to get top 4 through the league or through Europa next season, in it. So, and I think they're just pretty much just trying to commit all they can to get it as soon as possible. And obviously, if they do that, then it makes sense to hang on to Oba as well. Do you know what I mean? If, for example, like say we didn't win on Saturday, then I think that would have made more logic to sell him, just to say, do you know what, we can accept if we're going to be out of the wilderness just to start, but they're going to just try and F it and just try and cut corners and just try and get Champions League by hook or by crook next season again. So
fair enough. Dan and Leroy, I can't remember your stances exactly.
So
you go first.
No, you go. It's cool.
One of you go.
I think me and Leroy might have had the same stance. I was just saying I want him to sign. I would even throw the bag at him. Just do not let him go into his last year of his contract, because you were saying let him go into his last year of a contract. He will still score his goals. But for me, I was thinking economically that doesn't make much sense. And also we've seen it before. I think the distraction is too big. Like even now, he's getting asked after every game. He's getting asked questions about his contract. Next season, it would be the same if he doesn't have a new contract. So for me, it would just be like give him the bag or sell him.
So yeah, so that was my stance. Was I said we sell Aubameyang if we can't get him to resign, because we can't be letting him walk away for a free. I know how good he is, but I also said at the time that we wouldn't be able to get someone of his quality, and we'd be paying a lot of money for it. So if we can get him to resign, we should keep him. And I have the same stance. If he's not going to resign, we have to sell him.
Same.
Fair enough.
There's no other option, because you need that money to reinvest.
But before we move on to some of the transfer stuff, I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts on the performance of Pepe, because I felt like it was quite divisive in opinion. I actually felt like he did okay. It was just a strange performance. It was just he did everything like at 100 miles an hour, and everything was just like really drip or drown. Everything was just done with like 5-star skill level kind of thing.
Someone tweeted that he runs like Mike's Comedy, and that's exactly what he plays like. He plays like I imagine Mike's Comedies who play football. That's what he looks like. So
disrespecting my boy, don't do that.
Who's it that said?
Listen, if Hardy Caprio's getting deals, then boy. Maybe
He-
Pepe's one of them.
Everything, everything looks so unorthodox. Everything looks so unorthodox. Do you know what? Like I said, first half, I thought he wasn't good. I don't know what people were seeing. I thought he wasn't good. Second half, he played a little bit better because he had more of an impact. Again, it's not a performance I'd expect from a player who, one, costs as much as he does, and two, came with as much hype as he did. But he was at least effective. And the good thing I'll say about his performance, he worked his balls off. Man ran and ran and ran and ran and ran. I have to give him credit for it, but I still don't think it was if that's a good performance, then fucking hell, the bar is on the floor. The bar is on the floor. I'm sorry.
I think I agree with you. Because
if that's what they're classing as a good performance, and that's what they're getting excited about, goal that didn't go in, or goal that was counted offside, a couple of little shimmies.
Nice finish though. Really nice finish. And to be fair, he didn't know it was offside.
A couple of little shimmies, a couple of step overs. What else did he do? Obviously, the pass to Oba.
To be fair, he did a couple runs, like dribbles away from pressure. Won us quite a few free kicks actually as well when we needed it.
Like I said, if that's a good game, then fucking hell, where are we? How have we fallen?
Well, let's talk a little bit more about how far we've fallen, because there's obviously a lot of talk about transfers since the season is just under 6 weeks away now. So the rumours are coming thick and fast, and things seem to be with certain players further down the line than others. So let's all these questions, by the way, are from patrons, so I'm going to try and get through them all, but a lot of them are quite similar. So okay, let's start this one with Sasha. She asked, it's not even a question, it's just, we need a Willian discussion. So let me just give a quick brief overview to, the Willian thing, the Willian transfer for people that are out of the loop, I guess. But it seems like Willian is coming to Arsenal. And it seems like he was left out of the FA Cup final because he was coming to Arsenal. Rumours are mixed between a 2 to 3 year deal with an option. And also the wages are mixed rumours as well. We don't quite know how much. As favourable as less than 120 grand a week to I've seen some at like 150 grand a week. So, Leroy, you seem like you're chomping at the bit. So I'll let you go first with the Willian stuff.
Bullshit. It's a bullshit transfer. Bullshit. Transfer.
Even if it's 2 years on
bullshit.
100k a week.
Bollocks. I'm not interested. The reason I'm not interested yet is if you're talking about Willian, who's 27, I'll have it because he's not going to fall off a cliff. Yeah. So Willian, I actually like as a player. I know he gets a lot of heat from the Chelsea boys and stuff, but I've always maintained I like him. The reason I like him is, okay, he doesn't score, he doesn't assist, but he's the next level or a good level of what Iwobi was. So Willian is very, very good at creating offensive situations. He's got a good dribbling quality. He's relatively fast. He's got good technical ability. He's a good ball handler. He's a reasonable passer. Okay, that's fallen off a little bit, but yeah. So he is very good at destabilising defences and doing that thing where you've got a difficult situation, a difficult team, like you to break a block. Willian contributes in that aspect, and he works relatively hard as well. But the problem is he is a player who's very reliant on his physical attributes because his game is about explosiveness. When you have older players, they tend to, when they lose their explosiveness, it tends to fall off a cliff. It's not a gradual decline. So we are probably going to catch Willian's fall off a cliff moment and then just be paying him his pension for the rest of the time he's here, when he's a completely useless player and doesn't have any use for us at all. So that's why I don't think it's a good sign. And if you told me Willian 5 years ago we're getting on a free and we're going to pay him whatever, fine. But at the moment, I feel like there are more creative signings. And people keep telling me, oh, it's on a free or it's on a free. Well, it depends on what you believe. But if the rumours are true and his salary and his signing on bonus, etc., are going to cost us, between 8 and 10 million a year, there are smarter signings which are going to probably cost you less on the amortised figure across a 5-year deal, let's say. So I just don't think it's very wise business.
Dan, how do you feel about it?
I pretty much share the sentiments that Leroy has just articulated. For me, I just think it sets a weird precedent again, signing players that are old, paying them quite a bit of money, signing someone from Chelsea again, when they're old and on the way down. Really, it's not what I mean. Luis has worked somewhat towards the end, but realistically, he's had a horror season for us if you put into context. And Czech, you know, I hate Czech, so
Czech was good for us, man.
bro, leave the helmet hair where he is, man. And so I just not a fan of that point blank period. And I personally believe that we should really only look to sign players between the ages of if it's first team players that come straight into the first team, unless they're very, very good young players, we should sign players between 23 and like 28, 29. And anyone over 30, if you're signing them, it should be a backup or it should be a goalkeeper. And we don't need goalkeepers. So signing players over 30 for me is a no anyway.
What about if I told you? Yeah, no, I'm not saying this is going to happen by any stretch of imagination. But what if I told you we're also going to sign Zaha for 30 million? Would that make you feel better about the Willian transfer?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay.
Because they're in the same position. Okay, if you tell me you're going to get Willian, and then you're going to get Gabriel Partey Hour, fair enough. But you're not. And that's not what we're going to do. So,
what about Gabriel, Partey, and Zaha?
No, because why are you going to get Zaha and Willian? They're playing both down the wing. I'm more.
Oh, you're not a really big fan of Pepe. Maybe Arteta's not either.
Say no more. I could understand that. I get that. No, it's not happening really because they're both playing the same position. So.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think something to be taken into consideration with this Willian thing is he's obviously rejected a deal at Chelsea, and the rumours are he's also rejected bigger money elsewhere. So I think he's obviously coming here because he's been given some kind of guarantees that he's going to play. Because otherwise, you know, if he was just coming for a retirement thing, he maybe could have just stayed at Chelsea. But because Chelsea are signing the whole world and their dog, he's probably not going to play that much at all next season, even if he is one of Frank's favoured players, you know. But, you know, I do like Willian as a player. I'm similar to Leroy. I like him as a player. Is he 30 or 31?
He's going to be 32, no?
Is he?
He's going to be 32 next week. No, next month.
Right, okay. So he's getting on. But regardless, he's a player that doesn't seem to be falling off a cliff as of yet. This season, I'm just going to pull up some stats here. This season,
you know what the thing is with, it'd be interesting to see his running numbers and stuff because Willian in a way reminds me of T. Roberto a little bit. T. Roberto played for Bayern Munich and he played also for Hamburg at one point. And he played for Hamburg when he was relatively old.
And Bayer Leverkusen, right?
Bayer Leverkusen before Bayern Munich, yeah. So, and he was just, he's obviously Brazilian as well. He had the same funky hair as Willian. And he was just like super fit. Like it was, he was playing well into his 35s and he was playing high intensity. He was just no slowing down. Obviously, maybe Willian is one of these freaks, but I still don't believe in then signing players over 30. Also, the whole situation around this transfer kind of makes me feel uneven. Also, this is our first signing in the transfer window. It's just a bit. I mean, for me, this transfer window will really outline what their strategy is. I mean, Sean has already touched on it. Get into Champions League by hook or crook, but we really will see what their plans are and how they will structure transfers going forward as well. It'll be a very, very strong indication because we now have the transfers window from last year and we'll have this transfer window, and it will give us a very good indication. Because at the moment, I think a lot of fans are speculating, and whilst I don't agree with the Willian signing, there has to be some sort of plan. I think people will say, "Oh, there's no plan." There will have to be a plan because there's no way the KSE are allocating money without a proper plan in place. So there has got to be a plan. Whether this plan is good or not, we'll see. Gazidis' plan was shit. We know that now. But let's see what their plan is. As the guys, I'm against it, but I need to see the whole plan. Maybe there is something that we're not seeing and not privy to, not missing, and it will come together. That's me being an optimist, really. I'm trying to give him benefit of the doubt. Same as the Francis news coming today as well. We don't have enough information, but it doesn't look good, man.
No.
But, yeah.
No, it doesn't. I think there is a big thing about optics because I think this signing would be greeted less. I'm not saying that it's a good signing. It's not a good sign. Let's face it. You know, you're going to have a player who maybe could finish his contract 34, 35 on 150 grand a week. We don't know what it's going to be like physically in the time, but there is a bit of optics about it. If we had signed Partey by now, if we had signed Gabriel by now, it's an easier pill to swallow. But because we are so in the dark, we don't know what the club is doing. We don't know if we don't know if the club are gaslighting us. We don't know. I don't like that word, by the way, and I'm sure Leroy don't like that word either. But we don't know if we're being gaslighted. Yeah, so we don't know. But there is something I like about Willian. Like I posted some just quickly before we move on to the whole Kia stuff. There is something I like about Willian, and it's we are talking about a player who maybe is in his prime, coming to the end of his prime, and this season, you know, shot creating actions is a weird stat, but it's something we really lack.
It's what Leroy said. It's stabilizing defenses.
Yeah, it's essentially that, and all the best creators in the league have these stats in huge numbers. So, for example, I'll give you some context. Kevin De Bruyne shot creating actions this season, 220. Okay, Jack Grealish 184, Maddison 168, Trent 151, Willian 145. Yeah, that's above Mahrez, Buendia, Salah, Sterling, Mount. Now, if I tell you where our leading shot creating actions guy is, yeah, you probably won't be surprised. 57th, yeah. Nicolas Pepe with 66. So Willian has almost, over double the amount of Willian. And it's just something like that. I feel like Willian is going to provide us something. It might only be for a year. It could be for a year, you know. But I feel like he is going to give us some extra creativity in that final third, like the ability to destabilize defenses. And to be honest, he probably would have had more assists this season if he hadn't played with Tammy Abraham up front. True. You know, like Tammy Abraham probably missed the most chances in the Premier League this season. And a lot of them are probably from Willian, you know, creating chances. So maybe with Aubameyang up front, you know, he's able to put up better assist numbers. But
Willian doesn't really get that many assists, and that's not what I'd be worried about. I'm not worried about Willian as a player. I'm worried about him in his age profile, and I'm worried about him from a financial point of view.
Yeah, I share those concerns. But let's move on to the guys. Go on.
Another concern I have about Willian as well is that for the last couple of years, where have we seen him play? Right wing. So if he comes to Arsenal, he's playing
left wing. Yeah, it's weird.
Different interpretation of what he's been doing offensively for the last couple of seasons. So for me, it's just a bit like it doesn't quite fit for me. Do you know what I mean? So, so that's why I was saying in the group, maybe we're getting a left wing player, and we having Pepe or Willian start on the right. Because a lot of people are suggesting Willian on the left. Is he really going to play on left? Why would he? Like, he's not played there for the last 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah, that is a strange one as well. But unless we're trying to do the Chelsea thing where we're playing both narrow strike, what they did on Sunday, where they played their attacking midfield is very narrow.
I don't see it. If we're looking at the City model, I don't see that happening.
But Pepe has come in, hasn't he? Pepe is playing a lot more closer to the goal in recent games rather than being put out wide.
Well, it's because we've been playing, most of the time we've been playing a 3-4-3 and our width is coming from our wing backs. If you switch to a 4-3-3, it's going to be a bit more difficult to do.
True. All right, cool. Let me get some other questions in. So, okay. Robin, he says, is Raul skunked? What do you see this agent-based recruitment leading to in the long run? So obviously, agent-based recruitment, if you guys don't know what Robin is talking about, he's talking about Kia Jarapchuan, who obviously is the representation of Willian. He's also the representation of Cedric. He's friends of the representative of Pablo Mari. He's the representation of Coutinho. Have I missed anyone out, lads? Have I missed anyone out? I don't think I've missed anyone out. David Luiz as well. Sorry, how could I forget David Luiz? So, question on Kia. Where do you guys see this agent-based recruitment leading to in the long run? Are you guys scared?
I'm not scared, to be honest. I just think is for me
worried, I should say. Why would you be scared?
I'm very worried. Yeah,
For
go
me, I just think that it gives us I just don't think that will be a club that like, for example, I'll use Dortmund as a model. Like, we won't be ever run like Dortmund as a model where we get players, build them up and sell them, basically have them in the shop window. That's not what Arsenal are trying to do. However, we can operate in the same market as Dortmund and acquire those players and keep them. So we actually have better financial power than Dortmund. So say someone like Jadon Sancho, we get them on good money. We put them in the shop window. No, we don't put them in the shop window. They develop well Arsenal, and we can keep them. Dortmund ultimately can't keep them, and they have to sell. This is what, in my opinion, we should be doing. We should be signing. We should have a strong spine of experienced and good players. In centre midfield, we should have one world-class player. We should have one world-class player at the back, one world-class player in goal, one world-class player up top, and then one world-class player on the wing. And then the rest really, obviously, like good fullbacks. We want to be good all round, but really we want to acquire players that have a lot of potential, high potential players. A player like Martinelli, a player like Saka, where they come in and ultimately they'll stay for the next 5, 6, 7 years, and they stay at the club because we have the financial muscle to keep them and don't have to sell them.
I'll tell you why this isn't going to happen, because we just got rid of all our fucking scouts.
That's added to the worry, right?
Fucking scouts. So I don't see us operating with that model. I see us operating with.
But we could also replace those scouts, though, no? So I guess
fair enough. But when you go by agent-led model, that's very much you're getting the next big thing, and that worries me because the next big thing often turns out to be a flop, more time than not. It's the player that's quietly come up, gets scouted by a Dortmund who do their homework properly, and then blows up there. So, and then we're going to be the ones who are paying the money off to Dortmund to take their expensive players that they built up 2 years for.
Which what happened with Pepe?
Yeah, exactly. We are destined to make Pepe-like signings. Pepe and Willian and Coutinho and them type of signings. That's what with this Raul's model, that's the type of signing we're going to make. And that's not the type of signing that's going to do you well financially or from performance-wise, I don't think.
So this is where I want to have balance, because we've seen some good signings from this consortium as well, though. We've seen the Saliba deal, which we all believe looks like a good deal. Tierney, obviously, is an unbelievable deal, really.
Martinelli.
Even Ceballos is a good loan. If you get him on loan again and we get good optional clause on him, that would be good. Martinelli, I mean, Leno was a good deal as well. Okay, this was still when Mizintat was still around.
I'm going to talk about them deals, so one by one. Why did we sign Martinelli?
Edu.
Cagliari wanted to get him.
Okay. Was that Cagliari, yeah?
That was all Cagliari. That was nothing to do with Edu. Why did we sign Kieran Tierney? Because our scouting team...
I've been following for years.
Yeah, we've been following for years. Our scouting team are the ones who wanted Kieran Tierney. Out of the good signing, Leno. Why did we go Leno? Because Mizintat wanted Leno. Mizintat is the one who knew Leno's quality. So that's another scouting appointment. So those are the good signings that we made, yeah? Saliba. Why did we want Saliba? Because if you read the reports, our scouting team identified him as potentially one of the best centre-backs in the world. They said, if you want a Van Dijk, there's your Van Dijk. That's why we skipped. The deals that we signed that are good were based on the quality of our scouts. And Raul got the deal done, fair enough. But this wasn't agent-led stuff. It wasn't agent-led stuff. So this is the first, January, because obviously when Mizintat left, January was our first window of agent-led business. And we got Cedric Suarez and Pablo. This is our second agent-led window. And we're linked with Willian, Coutinho from the same Don. Who else are we linked to? Okay, we are linked with Gabriel, which could sign. We are linked with...
You know, even what you forgot. The first one when Mizintat left was where we picked up, Denis Suarez in January, bro. That was
that was an Emery request, though.
Yeah, but it was an Emery and Raul thing, but them two in tandem. So boy,
it's Emery's request. Like, no, it was more like, Emery, yeah, I got this player, Denis Suarez. Do you like him? Oh yeah, God, I'll have him. And that's basically what it was.
And our scouting team all didn't want him.
Yeah, for good reasons. I'm concerned. Sean, I know. Sorry, you were doing baby daddy duties. But we're just talking about we've spoken about Willian. You've missed the whole Willian thing. You can chime in a little bit on it if you want. But we're talking a lot about Kia's influence and this agent-led approach to our transfer business now. So just maybe you could give your thoughts on this approach.
Yeah. I mean, I'm quite vocal in terms of I'm not a fan, but I mean, it's pretty evident. I think that's the way they're going to be going. With Raul and Kia at the reins. I mean, people have said it before. I think sometimes people think that we're a bit skeptical of Kia for no reason, but he has previous. Do you know what I mean? He almost bankrupted Corinthians. His dealings with QPR are evident. Do you remember, obviously, when he brought Tevez and Mascherano to West Ham, the trouble West Ham got in with? He's dodgy for a reason.
No
you know
success stories at all, man. He's only successful for himself.
Right, and so look at
and his players, obviously.
Exactly. So, and now, and like I said, the only way it will work for me is if he can sort of guarantee us the next sort of Brazilian stars in the possible making. So obviously Martinelli was a good start, but I'm hoping we can get more like that. Gabriel potentially is a fantastic deal, but do you know what I mean? Willian, Coutinho, these are all just his links. Do you know what I mean? So, and people said that whenever you hire Kia, his players come with him. Do you know what I mean? So, and I can't remember what club it was. I think it might have been Corinthians. A couple of Kia players weren't playing, and the manager basically got sacked because of it. Do you know what I mean? So it's just a bit. Obviously, I think Arteta will have a bit more clout, and I think the better if Arteta does well, he will always have leverage on his side. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, me personally, I don't really like the route it's going down. I know a lot of other big clubs do this, but
yeah, whilst I have the same worries as you guys, I'm trying to have a balanced debate. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit because, for example, City, Jorge Mendes has so many of his clients on City's books, so many. Obviously, Wolves, we know.
Why is that not spoken about?
Honestly, City have so many Jorge Mendes clients, man.
I didn't know that.
Otamendi is a Jorge Mendes client. Cancelo's Otamendi.
So all the shit ones.
Bernardo Silva is.
And I think Dan, the thing is, if you do well, nobody actually cares. Nobody really cares. That's what I'm saying. So if Arteta does well, literally Kia will sort of drift into the background. Do you know what I mean? No one will literally care. Do you know what I mean?
One sec, Seun, I think your mic is making it. Is that? Can anyone else hear that? Like a funny noise.
Okay. Do you know what? Someone else speak. I'll go and talk that.
No, I think it's all right now. I think maybe the mic that you had hanging down was bashing against the table or something.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I'm just trying to do this and monitor.
It's all right, man, don't worry.
No, it's all right. But yeah.
I see that nappy in your hand. Like you've got nappy in one hand, headphone in the other.
Oh, is that spit up on your top?
Bro, it wouldn't surprise me. Listen, the amount of times this child throws up on me on a daily basis is crazy, man. But
it's a sign of love, man. Don't worry.
But I think if Arteta does well, we won't hear too much, and I think that's the most important thing. But generally, I'm not particularly happy in terms of the way it goes. But I think at the same time, remember when Wenger was here, like as Dan says, to play devil's advocate, we used to sometimes moan that we didn't get in bed with agents enough. Do you know what I mean? So we used to moan about our traditional methods and maybe how we missed out on X, Y. So maybe this is just part of what you have to do. You
don't have to do it because other clubs aren't bitches to agents. Like you can do it with agents, but you don't bend over for them. Yeah,
and I think So my thing is, I've got no problem dealing with agents. I don't just want to be in bed with just one agent. That's my kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? It seems
an exclusive.
Yeah, it's like some other clubs will deal with different agents, but it just seems we're exclusive, like with Kia. Do you know what I mean?
We've gone from one extreme to the other. We don't deal with agents at all, and now we're Kia's mistress. We're like cuckolded to him or something like that. It's a bit nuts. But let me go through some more listeners' questions then to do with recruitment. So Thierry21, another patron subscriber, he asks, looking at the players we're closely linked to, where does a squad with Gabriel, I don't even know, I can't pronounce it, Magalhaes, Coutinho, Partey, Willian and Ceballos finish in the league? First of all, would you guys be happy with that as a window? What would we rate that window as?
I would be happy. I can't lie. I think that's an 8 out of 10 window. It's a very, very good window. The way it would be higher is if you got someone better than like a Willian for me,
or a more creative player.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like a good, really good like ball handler from the left. Well, I mean, Aouar would probably be. What would actually happen is you'd put that Coutinho left and you'd have Aouar in the middle. That would look really nice. But generally, I'm surprised because if we do pull off all the names we are linked to, that's already a better window than we've initially anticipated. I can't lie. Do you know what I mean? None of us would have expected that. So And I think
we're all expecting Ryan Fraser on a free.
and do you know what I mean? And like I
Could
said,
still happen.
even though I'm
and all this shit.
even though I'm not too like, the thing is, I like the profile of players we're going for, even though it might not necessarily be the personnel I would have got. I think in terms of the attributes that we're looking to buy, I think that's right, and that for me is a slight positive. Do you know what I mean? So I can see where each of those guys would fit in the team, and I think they will improve us, especially in terms of Gabriel and Partey. For me, those are the two key signings.
So what would you give it out of 10?
8. If we got all of those that you mentioned, I'd probably give it 8 out of 10. Yeah,
I agree with 8. What about Dan and Leroy? What do you guys think? I'll start going Leroy.
Based on the position that we're currently in, you have to give it an 8 because even though it's not ideal, it's far beyond our expectations.
It improves us a lot as well, doesn't it?
It does, but we still finish 5th.
Okay.
In answer to the question, we still finish 5th.
What were the signings?
Gabriel, Coutinho, Partey, Willian, and Ceballos.
Listen, we finished 8th.
What?
This year we finished.
Oh, I thought you meant with them signing.
Oh. That'd be fucking worrying.
It was really, really a terrible season for us. And we obviously went out on a high with the FA Cup and got Europa League. That window, I wouldn't have anticipated that or expected that. So I'm definitely giving it at least an 8. I mean, any window that involves Partey signing for this football club, including a centre-back that has the profile of Gabriel's, already 7 for me.
Yeah. I just think in terms of, it sounds a bit yada, but in terms of what it does for the spine, like if you look at the axis, say, of the next 5 years, if you can have a Gabriel Saliba partnership with Partey just in front, in terms of what
that's a strong goalkeeper there as well.
A very strong goalkeeper behind and Obra through the middle. In terms of what that allows us to do as a side, in terms of how we can defend higher as a unit, and how we can compress the spaces in front, that allows us to do so much. Yeah. So for me, like I said, Gabriel, Partey are the most important, and then other than that, we can remix in terms of who we sign but those two really take it up a level in terms of, and they're the right age. Partey at 27, fantastic age, and Gabriel at 22, fantastic age as well. Anyone
think that those group of signings is enough to propel us into top 4? Leroy says it's not enough. I mean, we even despite our shit show this season, and I know teams are improving. Don't get me wrong. If United signed Sancho, Chelsea, as mentioned before, Chelsea signed the one in the top. But just because you sign a lot of players doesn't mean that you're going to automatically improve. Because if that was the case, then we would be every team would be getting 100 points a year. It doesn't work that way. So, does anyone foresee those signings getting us into the top 4?
I think on paper, I agree with Leroy. We're probably, on paper, obviously we know ball's not played on paper, but on paper, that's probably the 5th best side in the league. As it stands now, if we were to project what other teams are doing in terms of United with Sancho, Chelsea with Havertz and Ziyech and Pulisic and Werner, all of those sort of guys, I would have us just below those United and Chelsea. But this is where I give Arteta a lot of props, because the value of coaching can easily bridge that gap. Well, I say not easily bridge that gap, but in terms of, even though we're not levels from a quality perspective, I think the value of coaching could bring us up a level, because there are times where I looked at Tottenham squad and I didn't think, it's not all that, but the value of how well coached they were under Poch, they always finished very, very high up. So I think we'd have a chance. I'm not saying we would make it, but I think we'd have a decent shot at 4th. But I would probably say we should go all out for the Europa. And that team is definitely strong enough to win the Europa League, 100%.
Okay. Okay, cool. Coney asks, is Xhaka, Partey, Ceballos, Willock, ESR and Coutinho enough midfield options for a full season?
It's enough, but it's dead.
Yeah.
It's garbage. When you start reading those names, I just got a waft of ass.
What I'm confused a little bit by is, well, we don't even know if this. We'll talk a little bit about Coutinho now. Is Coutinho? We're getting mixed vibes. John Cross, Matt Law, they both said, I don't know what they've heard, but they both said that Coutinho isn't happening because Willian has signed. But your foreign press seem to think that we're still in for Coutinho. Whether that deal happens or not, I don't know. But where does Coutinho play for you guys? Because for me, I was always more impressed with Coutinho as part of a front three, as opposed to him playing as a 10 or in midfield. So where do you think we would see the best Coutinho? But and where do you think he actually will play if he does sign? Obviously,
On the left, he can't play midfield.
But is that your opinion that you think he's going to play on the left, or do you think that's just where he's best at?
I think if we got Willian and Coutinho, he'd play as a number 10. And we'd go 4-2-3-1, and he'd just replace Ozil in the system that we saw at the beginning of the year. But if we won't get Willian, we only got Coutinho, I think he'd play off the left.
Yeah,
I agree with Leroy. If we were to just if the news that it's true that Matt and John are saying that we're only going to go for Willian, so if we were to get one of them, I'd assume Coutinho would play from the left. But if we got both Willian and Coutinho, as previous reports have said, and also, I think we have long-standing interest in Coutinho, because if you remember from last summer as well, do you remember we were linked with him towards the end as well? And I think, as you see, since Raul's been in charge, a lot of the British press have been quite far behind in terms of Arsenal dealings. They don't really get onto it until last minute. Do you know what I mean? So even now, they're all running the party stuff, but the foreign press have been running that for a while, innit? So I think if we got Willian and Coutinho would play centrally. I do sort of get the reservations about him being an actual playmaker and playing centrally. I don't classify him as a traditional playmaker, even though he can make good final.
He's more of a shooter, isn't it?
Yeah, even though he can make good final third actions. But do you know what I mean? You never know, because the whole transformation in terms of what Pep was doing with the 2 8s is still what I think Arteta would like to do as well. So whether Coutinho could play as an 8, I know he did at times at Liverpool in midfield, and obviously to varying degrees of success. But that might be a plan. But then again, if Xhaka is still to be a starter, which I'd hope, for example, if we got Ceballos and Coutinho, I would not play Xhaka. But my mind is still telling me that Xhaka is going to be a starter.
Xhaka's going to play, isn't it? Yeah.
Alongside Partey next season. So I agree with Leroy. If we are going to, if Xhaka is going to start, I think we should play 4-2-3-1. If he's not going to start, we should play 4-3-3. So, for example, if we're going to buy Partey, I would have Ceballos and Coutinho in front of him. But if not, then it would be Xhaka, Partey and Coutinho in front, we
want to give our Ghanaian brother a heart attack. Jesus Christ.
He's capable, man. And listen, I've seen enough from Ceballos. I think he can do a good job next to Partey. And that midfield, I like that midfield. Coutinho, Partey and Ceballos.
I do. On paper, it doesn't look like it could work, but I think from a positional standpoint, Arteta could probably make that work. It would need a lot of work, and Coutinho would need to do a lot of work defensively as well. But
he works hard though.
Oh yeah, I don't think he's I don't think he's like a shirker. Do you know what I mean? He can put his foot in, and he was very intense when he was playing under Klopp. Do you know what I mean, at Liverpool? So I don't think it's a case of he can't apply himself. I think it would just need. It's one of those things that probably needs a lot of work on the training ground to make work. But I wouldn't rule it out, because as Gary Neville said, who 5 years ago could have seen KDB and David Silva playing as 8s? Do you know what I mean? Just in front of a DM. So these things can work from a coaching standpoint, but it would take a while, and I would like to see that.
True. Okay. J7, he asked, if we were to get Gabriel, is a back four of Ainsley Maitland-Niles, KT, Saliba and Gabriel too inexperienced to start in the PL? So before we answer that question, let's talk a little bit about Gabriel, because Seun, you've been banging this drum for quite some months now. You've been saying we need to sign this guy. Why are we not linked with him? I think we were linked with him, and then we weren't linked with him. And then
so I was like, obviously we've been linked with Upamecano for time, but I looked at and I agreed with Leroy. I looked at Gabriel, and I just thought the profile of Gabriel suited a lot better in terms of Upamecano has got fantastic physical attributes, but he's still quite raw and he's still quite rash. Whereas I think Gabriel's a tad more, I don't even know what the word is to use. Yeah, I think the balance potentially with him and Saliba is nice as well. Gabriel's 6'3", Saliba's 6'4". Considering what we've been used to defensively, that's fantastic. And they're both strong, very, very good in duels. I think I read Gabriel wins 70% of his ground duels, which is very, very high. Do you know what I mean? So
over 70% of both sets of duels.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. And so while everyone was always talking about Upamecano, I was always a lot bigger on Gabriel. And obviously, you talk about Arteta liking a left-foot centre-back. This is just Pablo Mari, but much better. Do you know what I mean? So this is someone who's a lot quicker across the ground, strong in the air, good on the floor. So if we go from having what we've had to that next season, I'll be happy. To answer the question in terms of, I think that is too inexperienced. You would probably have, what I would envisage happening is that Luis probably starts with like Gabriel, and then you probably, or they probably rotate with Luis at some point during the season, because I'm probably sure Arteta think, even though Luis has got his flaws, he's probably going to help. He can help mentor both of them before like passing the baton on to like both of them to start the following season. So yeah, I wouldn't go in with that. I think it's a bit too green.
I do like the look of this Gabriel kid, though. I didn't want to, because I saw United being linked to him, and I thought, fuck this, man. I don't want to get too invested.
I was shook. I can't even lie. I remember.
I still am. I think they want to beat us.
Yeah, the rumors coming out of France tonight was that yes, we are his preferred destination at the moment, but United have still got a hand to play. So. That's kind of.
I think the things that lends itself in our favour is probably that one. I don't know. Do United have any? And I know it's quite a soft factor, but these things definitely play a factor. The fact that he's Brazilian, the fact that he's very close with
Pereira and Fred.
What's that? Oh,
you know, I got Pereira and Fred, innit?
They ain't Brazilian, bro.
Yeah, I mean, that man ain't Brazilian, bro. Do you know what I mean? So he's close with David Luiz. Pepe's his boy from Lille.
Willian is going to sign in up.
Yeah, Willian. So I think integration for him here would probably be a lot easier. And it depends if he just believes in the project or not. But then again, I think he would be, I agree with Leroy, I think he'd be a fantastic signing for Man United.
Yeah, if
he went there. I think he would really, really be good, man.
He's exactly what they need. He's exactly what we need.
Exact sort of centre back. Yeah. And to be fair, the fee of £27 million is such a good fee. It's just a really, really good fee.
And to be fair, Lil fucking owe us, for that, bruv. They better give us some fucking discount, mate. What? True. I want some of that 50% COVID discount on the same discount we're getting in McDonald's. Yeah, I want that off of fucking Gabriel. Yeah, 50% off, mate.
Nah, to be honest, you should tell them we paid for him already because you
in it, exactly. We paid for him already, mate, and more. Yeah,
it's true. After they fleeced us last year, and then we should go back maybe next year, brother, and just try and get Sumari on the cheap as well, bro.
Yeah, to be fair, they should give us fucking all of them. Yeah, exactly. But just going back to the question, Leroy, Dan, is that back four too young? AMN, KT, Saliba and Gabriel, probably average age there, probably of about 22, 23?
Everyone's gassing about this AMN thing at fullback. He is not going to play fullback full-time for Arsenal FC.
He's playing fullback full-time for Arsenal FC at the moment.
No, he's not. He's playing, coming in for games now and again. He hasn't played that many games all season. We're going to sell him anyway to Brighton for 30 mil.
Nah, I can't let that run, bro.
I don't want that.
30 mil? You wouldn't take that?
The thing is, I just think AZ...
I like him, but I'll take 30 mil for him.
The thing is, I think he can do so much, bro. I really like I said... If he puts his concentration issues to the side, bro, and he really wants to apply himself, I think he's such a good player, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? I really do. I like his mix of attributes. Athletically, he's great. Technically, he's decent when he wants to be as well. So, but I think, as Arteta says, it's all down to him, innit? And to be fair, if someone bids 30 mil, I'm sure the board will accept. I'm sure they'll accept.
I think we have to. I don't think we're in a position where we can't. Like 30 mil is a stupid amount of money. I think I could even see the board accepting 20 million for him, to be honest. Probably. But Leroy, let me ask you a question, because I know you're not convinced. But say he does stay, who are you starting right back next season?
I'm not convinced he actually wants to play fullback.
He does, man. He said, I like it. I love it. Love it. What more do you want him to say? He
has had Faceless Abbeys in his mentions calling him all sorts of names for the last month. He is trying to get the heat off him. That's all he's trying to do. If you ask my man in private, if you go to my man, what Caribbean shop did you see him in? If you go,
I saw him in. I can't remember what it was, but it was in like Limehouse or something.
If you two sit down on your own with some mac and cheese and some plantain, and you go and talk to him,
I'm more of a curry. I don't want to play with myself, if I'm being honest.
I don't want to play this fullback nonsense. He's going to tell you. I don't want to do it. I'm just doing it.
I'm a midfielder.
He's not playing like that though.
But yeah, he's applying himself. But I'm still not believing that this guy wants to be a full-time fullback. But let's say hypothetically he does. I still have my doubts about him at that position.
What are your doubts, though? What are your doubts?
He's got a lot to learn. He's not very good on the ball. Like, look at his stats. Go and look at his pass stats. When he plays a right back, he gives away the ball a lot. He's not. He's
you know what? He's a bit careless sometimes, but I think
very careless. A lot of the time.
Is that as of late, though? I haven't noticed that at all.
Sorry to butt in. Have you just seen what Martinez has just said? He said basically, like, I'm happy at Arsenal, but I want to be number one in it. So if I don't get opportunities to play, I'm going to cut.
But I don't blame him. He deserves it, man. Like, he's done enough for himself to get a move. So big up him, man. Big up him. I'm just trying to find Ainsley Maitland-Niles' his pass percentage. Where is it? Hey, 82.6%. Come on, man.
What, all season?
Yeah.
Nah.
the thing is,
What do you mean? I'm literally just giving you the stats.
I was going to games and seeing man in the 70s and 60s.
Boy, 82% he is. 82% across the season.
He applies himself. He's very, very good.
No, Lewis, I'm not having this. This is a finesse. Can you break it down into different games?
All right, cool. Into what?
Different games. So like
different games.
And just like list out his last like 10 games.
All right, one sec. I can't bloody do that. I'm not bloody whiz, but let me try and get his games up if I can.
What I was about to say is I think he keeps the ball very well, but he has like those 2 or 3 moments where he gives it away that like kind of sticks in your mind, and you're like, oh, this guy's careless. Well, he's not done it often in that game. He's just done it 1, 2, 3 times, and you're like, when he probably shouldn't have at all. Well, he's kept it on a number of occasions when another fullback like Bellerin would have just punted it down the line, just cleared into someone's feet. Whereas Maitland-Niles finds solutions there, but then he has those lapses of concentrations. You're like, what the fuck is he doing? And he has that more than someone like...
Maybe I'm casting a back because a lot of the games I'm thinking this guy's sloppy.
Let me give you the stats. You asked for the match by match breakdowns, right? So I haven't got the actual stats for the Chelsea final on this website I'm using. I'm using FB Ref. Maybe someone go on Who Scored and check. But against Watford, he started, right? So he got 83.8 in that game.
That's decent.
I haven't got the Man City one as well. That's annoying because he played 90 minutes that one. I'll try and find these. His previous start before then... Oh, man, where's all these starts? All right, Sheffield United at home, 80%.
Not bad.
Crystal Palace 68 dropped. When he played at home against United, it was 84.5. Chelsea was 77.2. Bournemouth 85.4. All of them are high 80s.
No, that's fair enough. Maybe I'm chatting shit.
Even against Man City, when he played 90% in that game, but I guess he probably only passed it like 3 times.
Early games, like obviously he's had this big upsurge in form when he's actually been committed. But even going back way before then, because I'm convinced that when I was looking at Ainsley Maitland-Niles fullback properly, obviously before you said, right, I'm going to apply myself and had this resurgence, he used to seem to me at least to give away the ball quite a lot.
Maybe he's improved.
Who knows? But
to be honest, I get what Leroy is saying, but I don't think it's down to a lack of ability in it. That's why I say with Ainsley, a lot of like, you know, when you talk about Joe Willock, bro, that's lack of ability, bro. But when you talk about bro,
why can't we go a pod without just
you people are terrorists with your praise of him, bro. But Ainsley can actually do pretty much most of the stuff he wants when he's focused. You know what I mean? He can execute well. And yeah, I don't know. I really like him, man. I can't even lie to you, bro. But out of all the players we could sell, yeah, and you know how much I even like Nelson, bro. I'll sell Nelson way before I sell Ainsley, bro. I'll sell, bro. I'd even sell. Actually, let me not even say
that. We almost got him. We almost got him. He's getting there. He's getting close. He's getting really, really close right now. Couple more weeks, yeah.
Yeah, do you know? I love Ainsley, bro. I don't want to sell him, man. I don't want to sell him. I think.
All right. Let me try and get
character, man. You see him in the pictures with the Budweiser in his hand.
Did you see him on the bus with Lacazette? That guy, he was waved.
He was definitely waved.
Funny, man.
At least he's transferred from the ganja to alcohol. I think that's I don't want him playing drunk, but maybe it's a bit more preferable than playing high.
You know
Well,
when
the
it's
old Arsenal legends did it.
Yeah, exactly. It worked for
You know
them,
when
so why not Ainsley?
you know in the off season this guy gets drunk, bro. You know he enjoys himself, bro. He goes partying and clubbing.
What's
hard,
that?
bro.
What's that drink that everyone Magnum? I know Ainsley loves a Magnum. I
Thanks,
know
man.
Ainsley
You
loves
know
a
he does,
Magnum. I know he loves it. I know he loves it. Let me try and do a couple more questions then before we wrap things up. The Patreon guys are mainly asking the same question. So Aziz Gunnar, Techers, big up you. Omni Wrench, Johan Yo, Tomia Ajayi, Marvinho. You've all asked questions that I think we've kind of covered. Let's see. Yeah, Marvinho asked, with all our rival strengthening Arsenal taking scraps like Coutinho, Willian looks like top 4 is out of the question next year. Is it Europa League or bust? That's quite a negative outlook on it, but I think we kind of answered that with where we think that our signings are going to end up. So let me just quickly go to some of the non-patrons if we got any decent questions.
You non-Patreons, sign up, bro.
This
You're
is what I'm saying. You're getting the scraps now. People might not even be listening to this. They might not even hear your question, bro. So, yeah.
You know what the thing is about Coutinho, yeah? For me, Coutinho, he's still at a good age. He's just
28,
extremely expensive. He's like 27, 28.
Mm.
And we know he has ability. He's got bags of ability. It's just the pricing on this.
Too much, because what Barca paid how much? 140 a year. Even right now, no one ain't gonna pay him like 70, bro. Even 50. Is anyone paying 50 for Coutinho right now?
They fuck themselves, man. That's why they want to. That's why they want to do that stupid thing that they were talking about, where they'll pay us 100 mil for Guendouzi, and then we buy Coutinho for 109 million or whatever. I don't know how that works, but smart people understand it. But Robin Stanford actually is actually a patron, so he's asked a question.
Big up you, Robin.
Yeah, he's a new patron actually. Signed up recently, so big up him.
He's my boy. Big up Robin. I know Robin.
Okay, big up Robin. Yeah,
big up Robin, bro.
He says.
The rest of you?
we'll cut it off there, yeah. With the signings of Saliba and Gabriel basically confirmed. Fucking hell, he's slow down, Robin. All right, show talk to your boy because he's jinxing it, yeah. That's a bit too wild. That is. He says, does that mean a switch to a back 4 for us? I don't know if Saliba's going to come in straight away. I still think if Gabriel starts, if he comes in, I think it'll be him and Gabriel to start.
That's it. I feel a lot more comfortable with Luis if he's partnered with someone like Gabriel. Plus, that's his countryman as well, innit? Both speak Portuguese and whatever, innit? So it shouldn't be bad. And plus, because Gabriel's fast and quick across the ground, he can sort of cover for some of Luis's flaw. Like I said, I don't think having a 20-year-old and 22-year-old, even though I believe they're the future, I don't think it's good to start them straight away. Just sort of bed them in as the season goes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, specifically speaking, because I've said that I think him and Partey are such important signings, that will continue to add to the structure and the sort of the organisation of the team. But from a scoring goals perspective, that's why I said creativity. After those two, creativity becomes paramount. Really, really important.
See, I do think as well we probably have to start going with that pairing and bed Saliba in, because Saliba is not even 20, he's 19, and he turned 19 this year. Like,
yeah.
Let me check how many, I don't even know how many senior apps he has.
Even Gabriel, this is his first full proper season. Like I know he played a little bit for Lille last season, but I don't think he started that many games for Lille last season.
Saliba had 28 apps for Saint Etienne.
And he was injured for a lot of it, right? 4 months of it, I think he was injured for.
Yeah, he had the metatarsal, I think, early on in the season, but then he came back. Yeah,
it is quite concerning. That's the one weak point I would say about Gabriel is I don't think I might actually be wrong here. I've done it without actually looking at the stats.
To be honest, though, I think this is what you have to do because there are very few prime age centre backs you're looking at and you're thinking, boom, like outside of Koulibaly, who is there that is a sort of a prime age centre back that you could sign right now that wouldn't cost an absolute bomb?
I thought that Koulibaly guy as well, bro.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's not value for money because they're asking for 100 mil for Koulibaly. That's not value for money. Do you know what I mean? It's not value for money at all. And how Koulibaly's like nearly, I swear, how old is he? Like 29?
He's 29, yeah.
I mean, he's a good player, but 100 M's. I think this is like
smoking budge.
Wait, when did Arteta come in? Did he come in the United game?
No,
Bournemouth. He came in.
You know why I'm actually talking about, sorry to butt in, like you might know, because before the United game,
that's why I wonder why Leroy got quiet, you know.
It was 82.8, 75, 66.7, 70, 80, 175. and then 61.9, and then all after the United game, they all went up to the 80s. So that's I knew I wasn't bugging. I knew I wasn't bugging.
Yeah, but it was only about 8 months ago, mate. Get with the times, fucking hell.
Bro, I knew I wasn't bugging because I was looking at this stats thinking they're higgy, bro. So yeah, I needed to clear that up. Obviously, like.
Yeah. But do you guys envision us going to a back four? Do you think Anton raised a point in the group chat today that maybe he'd feel a bit more comfortable with a back three with Luiz because that gets the best out of Luiz. But I don't think we should be catering to a defence just to get the best out of Luiz. Then you're hamstrung in midfield. You can only play 2 midfielders.
We need to score goals again.
Yeah, we need to.
I need to see free-flowing football.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, the next time our team pens someone in for like 20 minutes, I think I'll cry tears of joy.
Oh my God, it's not. Oh,
it's true. It's true that, and that's why I don't want the three at the back because it just takes away from an extra midfielder. I think I saw this was our lowest goal scoring season since like 95-96.
Yeah, man.
And so, despite our defensive problems, that is pretty much our biggest flaw right now. And Arteta spoke a couple of weeks ago
bigger than
about
the defensive problems, I think, actually.
Yeah. So Arteta spoke a couple of weeks ago about scoring more goals, but obviously we can't score more goals unless we create, and we don't have any creative midfielders in it. Do you know what I mean? So he spoke about renewing all those attacking midfielders that we used to have, which is why I continuously just bang that sort of drum. The guys that can play in the half spaces, we don't have them. Do you know what I mean? Ceballos is a step in the right direction, but ideally you get another as well. That's why I said I would sign 2 attacking midfielders and promote Emil Smith-Rowe. But obviously I know all of that stuff is not going to happen, so we take it little by little. But getting someone in like Coutinho is probably
Selling Willock as well. Selling Willock.
What's that?
Selling Willock.
Listen, if we're signing Partey and Coutinho, I'll happily sell Willock, and that's absolutely fine because we wouldn't need him. But all right, cool. Let's leave it there because I think we've done quite a long pod actually. I said an hour and we've been going for an hour and a half. So yeah, you guys are getting more than you signed up for. What are you paying for?
And I went away for like half an hour as well.
Yeah. All right, guys. Again, make sure to follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube, guys. If you haven't joined the Patreon, we are going to be doing like non-stop content. It don't stop. So
you're missing out.
We're still going to be releasing content. So make sure to join. It'll be well worth it, especially to get like the player profiles that we're going to talk about. We didn't really get to go in too much depth about these potential new signings, so we can do that on the Patreon, obviously. So the link to the Patreon will be in the bio. You can join via that. Follow us on Touchy Gooners, and we'll be back next week. Cheers, guys.
Easy.
When I spit bars in a rave, man, I go hard like Santan.